test match. India have won the series. They're going to get back for two. India at home. Lords goes wild.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of the 81 All Out podcast. This is your host, Siddhartha Vaidyanathan, and good to be back after a mini break. Few things, work, travel, and health concerns and everything meant that we weren't able to record over the last 2 weeks, but glad to be back. Today I'm joined by the regular crew, Mahesh, Ashoka, and Kartikeya, and we're here to talk about the recently concluded test series between India and South Africa. In South Africa, South Africa won the first test by an innings and 32 runs. India won the second test by 7 wickets. The series is shared. We are all lamenting that it's not a 3-test series or a longer series, but that's the way it is, I guess. These days, South Africa are not even able to send their full-strength side for a series against New Zealand because of T20 and their T20 tournament and so on. Anyway, so let's chat about the tests. Highly entertaining. Both of them bowler-dominated, which is always a kind of series that I love. Much better than the flat wicket, 500 plays, 600 kind of series. So much is happening. Fast bowlers in the game. Of course, you wish that there was something for the spinners as well. And there was also a lot of chat about the pitches, and we can talk about that. But just overall, I think these series are really entertaining. It challenges the batting. It brings out the quality of fast bowling, the depth of fast bowling. And both teams were fantastic. I mean, Rabada, Bumrah, Siraj. You had Ngidi bowl some great spells. You had the new bowler Berger bowl well. So I mean, there was so much of entertainment. Some fine catching too. Fine slip catching, fine close-in catching, and some stupendous innings. I mean, KL Rahul, Dean Elgar in the first test, and then Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma. There was some short but fantastic batting. I mean, Elgar not so short, but even the cameos were great to watch. How can I forget the phenomenal innings on the final on the final day? Final 2 days. So anyway, let me bring everyone else in. Thoughts and prayers, or whatever else you want to bring in.
This is the first episode of the new year. So 2023 has been a great year for India. We had 3 great tournaments, WTC finals, which we won, Asia Cup, we won, World Cup, we won. And then now we have never won a series in South Africa, which we won. So it's been a great 12 months for India. And that is something that we should mention. I think.
Wait, what is this fictional World Cup that you won, by the way?
So that is how we will remember 2023 now.
Oh, okay, that way. On paper, you mean? On paper, we won. Yeah.
On paper and in memory, we have won everything. Everything is
okay.
Right. Otherwise, I don't want to talk about 2023 ever again. But man, this was.
2023 is the year when CSK had their greatest ever IPL victory or something, as you only keep saying.
Yes, of course. Yeah. That is true. And also we won a lot of IDFC First Bank T20 series, IDFC First Bank ODI series, bilaterals. Yeah, so that way it was memorable. But this series was very good, dude. It was very enjoyable. I would say this was unplayable bowlers v unplayable bowlers. Not the South Africa versus India unplayable bowlers. Unplayable bowlers like Rabada and Bumrah, who bowled really, you couldn't touch their bowling. And Shardul and Prasidh, I don't think they should be playing in Test cricket for various reasons. So Prasidh, because I think he's too raw, and Shardul, I think because I'm thinking this is becoming a mistake
because he's too processed.
Yeah,
even you have switched sides, which means that it's high time he is phased out. Yeah.
No, Shardul as a Test cricketer, I mean, he's still the Lord, and he will prove his worth in March to May. when he plays for CSK. All that is true, but I don't think Test cricket is something they should be, he should be considered for.
But Test cricket is not good enough for the Lord.
That is also true. Anyways, it's a dying format. This entire 2 Test match series they finished in 5 days, man. It's not even 5 days. It's like 4 days and 1 session. And it's not even 4 days and 1 session. The first Test match it rained also. So basically, in 3.5 days they finished 2 tests. What kind of pitches these guys are doing? What is this?
In fact, on day one was a perfect sort of illustration for Tendulkar's idea that he comes up with every year, right? The 4 innings ODI. So day one of the second test, they could have actually finished this whole test in 1 day, and Tendulkar would have said, "See, this is exactly what I was talking about."
Yeah, you could have had a 3 Test match series within this second test. Like, I think another 2 tests could comfortably fit in the remaining 3 days.
Except batters. Some batter would have, like, some 3 batters would have gone to the hospital. Someone would have been like massively injured and all that. So
that is true. So that way it was very entertaining to watch, because generally when bowlers have the upper hand, matches become very entertaining. It becomes like a lottery kind of scenario. Having said that, I enjoyed Markram's innings, man. I think it's one of the best innings we've seen. I mean, he did take a lot of risk. He was dropped and all that, but his shot making was amazing, dude. I've been saying this for years that this guy is like is quality. And even in World Cup, he was like pristine shot making batsman. So very happy to see that he got 100. Very, very sad to see Elgar get 100. I know this is his last test. Everyone is saying he's a gritty batsman. They don't make batsmen like him anymore. Good that they don't make batsmen like him anymore. I don't want to see a batsman dodging 70,000 edges on the way to 188, man. I mean, already I was like frustrated with this last tour when he dodged 30,000 edges and got them to 2 test victories. I mean, how much luck can a man have, dude?
I think I might have mentioned it on the group, right? I think Elgar is a kind of player who grows up in those conditions and sort of molds his technique to actually give himself a little bit more luck. Simply by the way in which he is shaping up to play the ball. That is the feeling I got. Like it is like a home advantage for him. Like, for instance, I don't think Elgar will have. Karthikeya can look at the stats, but I don't think Elgar will have as much luck in playing when he's playing in India, for instance, compared to playing in South Africa, because it matters. How you shape up.
Also, the bowlers that you face also matters. No, I mean, he was facing Bumrah, Siraj, and they were very, very accurate. No, so they got the ball in the right spot and made it move a little bit here, there, and they were very close to getting the edge. So I don't know if he was playing, first-class bowlers in South Africa. Sure, the conditions are hard, but they also tend to be inaccurate. Like he thrashed Shardul, no? He thrashed Prasid. So if you're inaccurate, he will thrash you around, and familiarity with those conditions will help. But still, very lucky, man. I mean, I envy that guy's luck, and I also worry for him, because if he has used up all this in his last match, he has still a lot more life to go. So I don't know where he's getting his luck from now on.
That is life luck. Don't worry, cricket luck and life luck are different.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that also Karthikeya will write a blog saying how luck is not opposite to life or whatnot. I don't know what he says.
No. Karthikeya will write a blog on mean reversion, which essentially is the same as what cricketers say: in the long run, luck evens out. Then he'll write a post against why luck doesn't even out and why there is no principled logic on luck should be evening out.
So coming back to the topic, South Africa kind of deserved to, win the first test, because they bowled really well. I mean, especially Rabada, dude. That guy is like awesome. I know we have a Cummins buck here, but I think Rabada is right up there with Cummins and Bumrah. People will say he's not done well in Asian conditions and whatnot, but I think he has the skill. At least at a skill level, he is really, really good bowler. And it was fantastic watching him bowl. And they got Ngidi as well. I mean, the second test was a lottery, but if it was at least a slightly calmer pitch, I thought, South Africa had the edge. If the second test was played on slightly conventional pitch, because Ngidi is really good in South African conditions and against India is really good. So I thought they would have won it 2-0 if the pitch was not this crazy.
Yeah, in a way, they shot themselves in the foot by preparing this pitch because, the first test, India's lack of depth was exposed with Shardul and Prasidh giving away quite a bit of runs. But in the second test, because of the nature of the pitch, even without that depth, India with Bumrah and Siraj could manage to bowl them out pretty quick. So, yeah, I think in a way, it's like the indoor pitch that India prepared against Australia, right? Where Nathan Lyon basically just won it for Australia. Had India prepared more like a Delhi or Nagpur kind of pitch, where the skills of where the Australian batting would not be able to play as well, then it would have been different. Anyway, Mahesh, thoughts? We haven't really gone into the big picture thoughts yet, so maybe you can get into it. India's chance of winning a series in South Africa and yet again not happening.
Yeah, I think, every time India goes there, at least since 2010, we felt like India goes in with a solid chance of finally winning a series in South Africa. Yet again, they seem to have missed it. But to be honest, and we discussed this last time as well. In fact, last time, it appeared like because we had the full bowling attack, it appeared like we had the better chance. And we keep repeating this quite often, right? Even though the South African bowling attack then was not necessarily better than the Indian attack overall, but they were better suited for the conditions. I know KD talked about the height difference and so on. That's one factor. But even without that, you could have a bowler with the exact same skills as Shami, but born and brought up in Australia, he's not going to be as effective in India, right? It is just the fact that they know what length to hit and they know what pace to bowl and they know how to get the carry in those wickets and sort of what length to bowl for those wickets and so on. And that is a natural advantage that they have, and that's going to play out, right? It's going to take, so for the Indian bowling attack to be better than South African bowling attack in South Africa, they don't just have to be better bowlers, they have to be much better bowlers in that series for them to sort of even out the home advantage. And I didn't actually watch much of the first test. I was stuck in Taiwan for I shouldn't say stuck. I was on a holiday. I did manage to catch only the highlights, so to speak. So I can't speak much about the first test as such. But the second test was okay. We need to talk about the second test at sort of multiple levels. First, it's something that we've discussed quite a bit in the past, and we'll continue to bat in favor of such outlier wickets, so long as they remain outliers. One, it was an outlier wicket. And Siraj had an outlier day, right? He bowled beautifully. Let's not take any credit away from him. But he's bowled equally beautifully in other innings where he's not got the rewards like that. So he bowled the perfect sort of length for that wicket. And he was patient. He was consistent. And even after all that, the chips were falling in India's favor in that one session practically. And once you get them all out for the 50s, such a low score, it's exactly what happened to India even in the World Cup final, for instance, right? When you're defending such a small score, it's not like Rabada is less consistent or Ngidi usually bowls such freebies that he bowled to Rohit. They don't have a choice but to attack and to go all out attack, right? And when you go for such option, it comes with its own risks. And then of course Rohit is a solid enough batsman to capitalize on such attacking bowling. And Ngidi was actually had quite an unusual start actually. And once you have that kind of start, the head start that India got after just two and a half sessions was so massive that it would have taken a heck of a lot of effort from South Africa to pull it back from there. So, South Africa had chips falling in their favor, which KD has also written about when they were batting particularly, that they survived a lot of chances. And in the second test, they barely survived any chance. So it kind of evened out. And when you play on wickets like this, that's really the margin of difference between the two teams. Like Bumrah's 5-wicket haul was not just a matter of conditions, it was a matter of conditions and how he exploited it. Whereas with Siraj, he could bowl equally well, perhaps even 50% better than what he bowled. but the wicket also has to assist, and like the chips have to fall in his favor, right? Even if the wickets are equally helpful, on another day, Elgar is going to survive a lot more sort of chances, a lot more edges, a lot more missed sort of shots and so on. This is the perfect storm, right? It was the ideal conditions. He bowled the perfect length, and every second chance that they were taking, they got out.
Yeah, I noticed a few comparisons between the way Siraj and Stuart Broad, right? I mean, even Stuart Broad is the kind of bowler who gets when he gets on basically, then he will go on like some rampage, get 6 wickets, or he'll get like some mega number of wickets falling his way. But of course, Broad had the advantage of bowling with conditions that perfectly favor him much more often than Siraj will perhaps get.
No, there is a difference there. That Siraj has a luxury so far in his career that Broad doesn't usually have, because if you see the last 10 years or so, Anderson doesn't play every series. He's kind of exempt from certain conditions and all that. In those conditions, Broad has to shoulder the burden of being the lead bowler, and therefore he has to also contain. Siraj so far in his 20 or 30, I don't know how many tests he has played, some 20 tests. He's been given the license to attack all the time, and he has done that. Sometimes, like in the first test, to his detriment, where he gave 90 runs away in 20 overs. That Broad usually, as he has grown in his career, I don't think Broad has had that luxury. That is the difference. But yeah, there is similarity where when they get wickets, they tend to get wickets. But that I think is because more because of the skill and similar type of bowling conditions that these guys get.
Yeah, 22 tests.
But very simply put, basically the 6 for 15 is less likely to happen than 6 for 61. That's simply the point, right? Irrespective of your skills, it's not.
Yeah. 55 all out is itself an outlier, right? Yeah. Like how many teams are India going to get all out for 55?
I think India are going to struggle to replace Ishant Sharma. And Ishant Sharma also became Ishant Sharma after nearly a decade of being pretty average. It takes a long time for bowlers, especially it has historically taken a long time for Indian fast bowlers, the few that have matured, to actually mature. And sadly, until this current generation, by the time Srinath and Zahir Khan became skillful bowlers, they acquired control, and they learned to bowl from round the wicket and over the wicket, and they learned to move the ball both ways off the pitch. And by the time they got to do all those things, they were no longer as quick as they used to be. So that's sort of been the story of India's fast bowling. From if you leave out Kapil, who started out with his outswing, and I have no idea why seam movement didn't seem to be a big deal in the 80s. It was all pace and swing. Kapil was an outswing bowler, although Richard Hadley did seam the ball quite a lot. But even then, it seemed to be enough. Being able to bowl outswing. And to be fair, even Dale Steyn with his outswing, it seemed to be enough for him to take wickets in the 2000s, especially when the ball was new. But this generation, what's remarkable is that so many of them are such mature bowlers so early. Bumrah and Siraj are just turning 30. And I think Bumrah has not yet turned 30, or has he? He probably has. But he's not had an apprenticeship of 50 test matches playing for India. And so that's why India, the difference is that India are very close to South Africa, England, Australia when they go there. So, it takes just a little bit of luck for them to win a series. And that happened in Australia some years ago, right? Even in this series, Elgar was really lucky, man. And he wasn't lucky in the second test. He was out twice within 11 errors. And in the first test, that 185, he survived 58 errors. Whereas even India bowled out for 153, I think all told they survived 57 errors for 10 wickets. The gap is very, very narrow between India and South Africa, right? And like this, South Africa has got some fantastic batsmen. And I mean, this Markram is like a superstar. He's got all the shots. He's got a terrific defense. He's the one player in the sort of the last 5 years or so who reminds me of Kohli so much. He's got that same sort of complete, uncomplicated game, And this Bedingham is also like a top player. He looks like a seasoned, well-prepared player. Like he's clearly not like, inexperienced at first-class level. He's got a lot of runs at a high average. And he's used to facing like speed and all. And I'd like to see him face spin, but there was no spin at all in this series. Not one ball.
What are you saying?
I know you like to dismiss everything Ashwin does, but he did bowl some balls.
Not from South Africa, I mean. They didn't bowl any. And Ashwin did bowl 17 overs of spin, but come on, I mean, that's like playing Ashwin on that Centurion pitch is like, it's like playing, I don't know.
Not the first time a Mumbaikar has downplayed Tamil Nadu player's contribution. It's okay, go ahead.
Dude, he did bowl really well. And he created a jeopardy. Not in the extent that he will create in Indian pitches, but he did.
Yeah, but also Bedingham's a right-hander, man. There's also, I mean, if you want to play Ashwin, then you want to be a right-hander. You want to play him in South Africa or in England.
Oh my God! Now he's not just saying Ashwin was ineffective because it is South African pitch. He's saying, but because the batsman was a right-hander.
Yeah. It's true. That's what the figures say.
Anyway, there's very little you can talk about Ashwin from this series. So, I mean, if at all this was a home series, then I can understand. But
no, but that's not the point. He bowled some overs. You can't deny it. I'm just saying that.
Okay. He bowled some overs. That's true. The point is that the gap is so narrow, that you can imagine a few things ending differently and India sort of winning 4 out of the last 5 tests in South Africa. A couple of edges going to hand, that sort of stuff. So, and that wasn't always the case. I mean, in India, previously the range of situations in which India could actually imagine winning a test match was really, really narrow. Like they had to draw like all sorts of things had to fall in place and be just right for them to like be in a position where they could win. And that's not there now, no? I mean, this Siraj is a really, really terrific bowler, and he's constantly trying to kill the batsman, which is like really something really wonderful to see. And Jasprit Bumrah is also like that, but Jasprit Bumrah just that little bit extra class than Mohammad Siraj. But I don't know. They're a good pair, man. And like when Shami comes back, they'll be better. And the new guys are not in that class, man. I mean, Mukesh Kumar, like he got a really nice wicket to bowl on, but Prasidh Krishna is new, and I don't think he worked out like what length to bowl on this pitch, and I don't think he worked out how he was going to get people out. They were trying all sorts of ways for him to get people out. For a while he was trying to bounce the batsman out. For a while he was trying to, get the batsman out, caught in a slip cotton. There was just lots of different things going on, and it was never really. And also, I think South Africa went after him a little bit, which. The guy in his first test, you can understand why they did that. Maybe one of the reasons for that is that like this wicket was offering so much sea movement that a lot of bowlers were maybe bowling a little too full. So, everybody was trying to work out like what to bowl and where to bowl, except for like Bumrah and Rabada, who figured it out really quickly and found what they had to do in both test matches really fast. But all the others were like, I mean, Jansen had a pretty iffy start also to his spell in the first test, but I mean, he's like basically really like difficult bowler to face. He's just so tall, that needs to be said.
No, I think they went full also because they tried that back of a length thing, and a lot of LBWs got turned down because you are not going to get LBWs on this pitch, no.
Yeah.
If you bowl
no,
back
but
of
even
a
in the
length.
first test, Jansen was. I was talking about the first test. I think Jansen was really struggling in the first test. Until he sort of got into his second spell, and then his third spell was even better. There was just, I don't know, I got the impression there was just a lot of, like, if you take out like the all-time great quality of, Bumrah and Rabada, no, the other bowlers, they seem to be like, feeling their way around, trying to work out like what to do. And like they're running into batsmen who are like waiting to kill them, like there's like, this amazing number of shots the batsmen are playing, mostly because they didn't trust the pitch either. So they thought there's just so much sea movement that I don't want to die poking at something. If I have to die, I'm going to die swinging. That was basically what it was, and the extra bounce was also causing a lot of trouble with both ways. I mean, it was all the whole like conditions in the two test matches, no. They made any thought of attrition or control or anything like that, like really, really suboptimal. Like everybody, batter, bowler, everybody was going like flat out, like attack all the time.
Yeah, so which brings me to the point actually, which is that, there's been a lot of talk about this pitch and about how, this is like, multiple layers of conversation about this pitch, right? Number one, why this is considered okay when the pitch turning from day one is not, as Rohit Sharma mentioned, or whether a pitch should gradually evolve from being like a seamer-friendly pitch to a thin pitch over 5 days, and why Test cricket needs that and all. But honestly speaking, Test cricket is at its most exciting on such pitches. Of course, if you have such a pitch for every match, it may become like a little tedious and you may start getting bored by it. But when you see this like once in a while, how can you take your eyes off the game? This is pretty much what, in a marketing sense, if you are marketing Test cricket, this is the kind of pitch you would want, right? I don't know why it is becomes a situation where you feel this is bad for Test cricket. I say it's great for Test cricket.
It is, but it is from a viewer point of view. But I think it takes control, as Karthikeya was saying, it takes control out of the game. No, then what is the skill? The same guy, that Berger guy, he had a good debut in which he got a lot of wickets. But put him in another pitch where it's not doing as much. Does he have the control? Or will he bowl and get as much wickets? That's the question, no? So that makes skill.
But listen, every format has that kind of lopsidedness, right? Like T20, you have a lot of average batters who are slamming everything out of the park. So that is also similar, no? That is also like skill, where skill is being...
No, but that is by design. That in T20, batters are supposed to hit and it is designed that way. Here, it is a question. You're taking away aspects of tests. In tests, draws are allowed. In tests, stalemates are allowed. And reaching a stalemate for teams is also, very thrilling to watch. It is built into the design of the game. What this pitch does is it takes the stalemate out of the game.
But that's also part of the design, right? Test cricket is designed for all kinds of situations. One is, of course, the stalemate. But okay, even on a pitch like this, Markram played the way he did because he didn't back himself to survive for too long. Now, isn't that also a display of skill from the batting side, right? And sure, if you play every test on a wicket like this, it's not good. But that's the thing. In a T20 game, you know what's a good T20 game. You know what's a good T20 skill, right? But in Test cricket, you can't define it so narrowly. You could have a thrilling match where 500 plays 600 and then like eventually there's a collapse on the last day. or you could have a test which finishes off in 2 days. Now, we can't have too much of any of these. And we've been having a lot more result tests in the last 15 years than before. Has that led to lesser test cricket because you take stalemate away? No, it's in fact led to more exciting games. So, I mean, I completely agree with Siddhi, but the point is that test cricket doesn't need marketing only from one type of games. It requires it from all types of games. A test match which looks like a boring draw, which comes to life on the last day, in fact, sometimes the last session, is equally thrilling, right? Which is the whole point of test cricket. It is not one type of exciting contest. It can be all kinds of exciting contests. It can be all kinds of skills. It can be Ashwin dominating one day, Rabada dominating another day.
That's true, but I'm saying that to have a test, a pitch like this.
Wait. Let him finish. He was about to say Rohit Sharma dominating on a third day.
I'm saying Rohit Sharma dominates on all days, so he doesn't have to say it. To have one pitch like this every series, I think is not bad. I mean, it's like an outlier pitch, like India.
Do you think this pitch was by design? I think it was a mistake. I think there was basically too much rain, and he left the grass in to make sure that the cracks didn't open, and it just didn't work for him. I mean, it became whatever this.
Whatever the motive or whatever the reason for it was is not what I'm saying. I'm saying looking at it from a point of view of I think it is okay to allow one test match in a series to be such an outlier pitch, whether it's in India or Australia, wherever you want. I mean, it's fine. I think it's great. So, of course.
Yeah, although I would say one thing, that think about the indoor pitch and this second test pitch, and actually I would say even the first test pitch, is that it's like, you have jeopardy because the pitch is doing a lot. But then it gets to a point where you have jeopardy, so much jeopardy that batters are no longer trying to defend the off stump because they can't, because they don't trust the bounce. So like Rohit Sharma is backing away to leg and trying to hit over extra cover, like the fast bowler over extra cover. That's a huge chance, no? And like, the other openers are like opening. I mean, Aiden Markram, the amazing thing about Aiden Markram's innings was that when he got to that spot picking, phase of his innings, because he had only the tail left to bat with, I mean, he picked his spot so well. I think he missed, maybe he got his 99 balls. I think he made false shots to only about 22 of those. Like it was an astonishing assault, But the thing is that he was also playing in a very, very high risk way. He was picking his spot, and once you do that, then it takes very little for it to become a miss hit. But the point is that the fact that the batters were sort of gave up trying to defend the off stump for the most part, that suggests to me that they didn't think that technique was useful on this pitch, and that's perhaps a little bit excessively, arbitrary. I mean, and I don't, for one thing, I don't know that we can avoid these types of pitches, because I don't think they're prepared by design. Like, I don't think, like, for example, Indore was prepared by design. I mean, like, you remember the second Chennai pitch of the 2021 England series, on which, which was like, for Mahesh, the greatest test match in the history of test matches, because,
Rohit Sharma's greatest innings. Yeah.
What do you mean Rohit Sharma? Test cricket's greatest innings.
Rohit Sharma made 100, and then Ashwin also made 100.
Okay. I don't know if that's a diss or a compliment. Okay.
To channel the Balaya fan in me, both are not same.
Yes. And Ashwin, of course, got wickets. This is like, this is the test match like Mahesh is going to frame and put on his wall. Those wickets were not lotteries. It was turning, but you could still play. You could still build an innings. You could still like have some method, which was not like, backing away to leg and slogging. You could defend. There was some possibility for deliberation. Whereas in Indore there was no possibility for deliberation, because there was so much uneven bounce. I think the ICC gets a bad rap, and I think Rohit Sharma is sort of a little bit frustrated by what people say about Indian pitches. But the point is that I think he's basically wrong about what he says about the ICC. I think the public discourse and the press is prejudiced against Asian pitches, but I don't think the ICC's pitch reports are prejudiced against the Asian pitches. And I think one of the other things is that he's a little bit upset that the World Cup final pitch was not rated high, but that's because the ICC have a different standard for what is a good one-day pitch and what is a good test pitch. For one day, they've said that we want a good batting wicket. We want a good batting wicket which encourages stroke play. And so anything which is not that is going to be regarded as, less than very good. So I think Rohit Sharma is basically taking aim at the sort of the wrong target over there. Not instead of aiming for the referees, he should aim at the people he was talking to in that press conference. Because they're the ones
I think he's right in spirit, but wrong in who he's targeting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And also, it's a little bit ironic that Rohit Sharma is feeling upset about that World Cup final pitch being rated low. Rohit Sharma, who, first of all, who claimed he would have batted first on that pitch, and who anyway got the chance to bat first on that pitch, on a home pitch against Australia in a World Cup final, and then he's upset that it is a bad pitch. Of course, it's a bad pitch, man. Accept it. What is this?
I don't understand what you guys are talking about, because India anyways won the World Cup. No, so what is all this discussion?
Yeah, that's true. On paper. But they didn't win it on the pitch. They won it on paper.
No, it's not on paper. It's a moral victory.
Yeah,
morally,
England morally won the Ashes. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so the ICC's pitch review is very, very hard on uneven bounce. And especially when the uneven bounce happens on day one or day two, then they basically, the pitch
But
gets...
Karthikeya, his point about transparency is valid. I think they can be more transparent, right?
No, but they are transparent. They have, I published the form that they use. They've even told me what method they use. It's there. Everybody can read it.
They put the sort of the data for why it is failing their yardstick, is it?
No, they're sure. I know what the form looks like and how it's filled out. I don't think they're publishing the filled out forms.
So they should know what stops them from doing that.
I don't know. I don't like this whole business where you ask people, you be transparent, because otherwise we are going to assume that you're acting in bad faith. No, they're not public officials, man.
Listen, these grounds.
Besides,
okay, now tell me this. What do they lose by putting it out?
Sorry?
What do they lose by putting it out? I'm saying it's to their credit if they put it out.
They don't lose anything. They lose they by giving in to bad faith questions. They lose a lot of morale and they lose a lot of self-respect, and nobody should do that. I think. I don't think they are malevolent. I don't think they act in bad faith. I don't think they're incompetent. I don't think they're stupid. They are very, very good there. They compared to what they used to be 25 years ago, the ICC's umpires and pitch rating system and all is really good. But there are other incentives at work right now. Like, for instance, one of the reasons why these types of pitches are getting prepared is because the toss, they take the toss out of the game. No, a team which wins the toss and bats first scores on average 358, and a team which is sent in after losing the toss scores on average 311 in the first innings. That means the toss is worth 47 runs in lead on average in Test cricket, right? So with WTC points, at stake, no home team is going to like give up 47 points, 47 runs. Like no team is going to do that. Let that sort of be, dependent on the toss. I mean, in Australia, they don't have that problem so much because, they rarely have days when, it's absolutely flat, especially now, once they've relayed the MCG and even, the SCG, they're leaving more grass and so on and so forth. And they rarely have draws as it is. So that's another reason why these teams are doing like putting out, result pitches. Because they don't want to be beholden to the toss. So I don't have a problem with the players getting frustrated and saying things, but I don't think that the umpires and the referees should be because I mean, what is the be more transparent means what? So what is the subtext over there? Which is what? You're not transparent, so what? You may be doing what exactly?
No, the subtext over there is that it's not neutral, that there's bias.
But based on what?
Indian pitches get low ratings, whereas these pitches might go,
But they don't know. I mean, the last time India played a test match like this in South Africa in 2018, in Johannesburg, the umpires actually stopped the game because it was dangerous and the pitch was rated poor. In Brisbane, the same thing happened last year and the pitch was rated poor. So when the pitches, I mean, there's no actual evidence that there's bias in the pitch rating system. There is bias in the way pitches are described in the public discourse.
Let me just give you an example. In 2017, there was this lawyer, a very sharp lawyer called Alok Prasanna Kumar, who wrote to me and said that, he is very interested to find out about the warnings, fines, bans that the ICC hands out. And he wants to sort of find out, he wants to document it. And he wants to find out like which countries, which players have got fined, which this, that. So I thought it was a good idea. And I wrote to the ICC and said that we would like to have the record of the teams that have been fined for overrate, the players that have been fined or banned or whatever, or suspended for whatever reason. The ICC were kind enough to provide me a lot of detail and a lot of data.
Yeah.
And he published an article.
They published those fines, but they don't publish the transcripts of the hearings, no?
Yeah, they don't. So all I'm saying is in the ICC website, if there is a section for things like fines, bans, just recording it. If there is a section for pitches, pitch ratings, if there is a section.
But there is. Pitch ratings are available. They're published on the website.
They are published, but they are not, the charts are not published. The extent of bounce is not published, no.
Yeah. But that's the same thing, no? That the hearing transcripts are not published for the fines and regulations.
Okay, so you're saying they don't need to get into micro detail.
They don't have to prove that they're not crooks. And like these are referees who are doing this every match. No, the referee has got experience of like evaluating like dozens and dozens of pitches. So they know what they're doing. You at least give me one good reason, for thinking that they're biased. You can't just say that they're biased because the referee is white and the teams are not.
No, the one area I agree with you is that there is no end to it. Because, even if tomorrow the ICC publishes every single...
There is a good faith beginning to it either.
Yeah, and even if the ICC publishes every single detail of the pitch ratings of every single pitch, there will always be something that people will want to see. And then you are basically talking about your own bias in the situation rather than their bias, right? So, so there is no end to it. That's true.
But there is a problem. There is a problem with the way pitches are described. In all this talk about the ICC, that is something that is that needs to be aired. This whole thing about how turning pitches are described and how seaming pitches are described. Like the editor of Wisden, what's his name, Lawrence Booth. They all sort of casually say that a turning pitch is an underprepared pitch. Every description of a turning pitch is derogatory. It's an underprepared pitch. It's a dust bowl. It's a doctored pitch. It's a designer pitch. Everything is, you're underhanded and you're lazy or some combination of the two.
Okay, let's put it this way. I think every
seaming pitch is a challenging pitch. Like a test of your technique.
I've been saying this for a while now. Certain sections of people, when they talk about turning pitches, in which subcontinental teams naturally excel, it is a very prejudiced thing that they say. It is prejudice. That's it. There is no sugarcoating it. And they
are. Why? And when you say that, when someone says that they're prejudiced, I don't see the point of speaking up for those people who are prejudiced. But this, that. There's no but this, that. They are prejudiced in this subject. The description of pitches is unequal.
The language used is certainly a problem, and the terms used is certainly an issue. But there is one line of argument that is hard to counter, is that even on this pitch in this second test, it was who was getting the wickets? Siraj, Bumrah, the South African bowler. They were getting the wickets, right? But in a test remember India and England played a day-night test in Ahmedabad, where Joe Root got 5 for 8. So the argument there is, if Joe Root can get 5 for 8, then how can that not be a match? So this is the difficult sort of situation where you cannot counter. It's not like...
Yeah, but it's a stupid argument. No, it's not really an argument at all. What? Michael Clarke got 3 wickets in 2 overs?
6 for 9.
At Sydney. No, he got 3 wickets
in 2
overs
in 1 over.
Sydney,
In 1 over.
In 1 over. Yeah, so freaky things happen. So what?
At the risk of offending Ashoka, Shardul Thakur got a 7-wicket haul.
True.
At the risk of offending KD, even Cummins has got 250 wickets, man. Freaky things happen.
Yeah. No. The sort of the.
But it's not a good
idea.
argument. No, it's not a good argument. Come on. Look. You can't have a situation where India winning by 300 runs and call it a bad pitch, man.
Also, Joe Root getting a 5-wicket haul and Michael Clarke getting a 6-wicket haul happens once in a decade, once in 1.5 decades. But the frequency with which pitches are described as devious happens far more frequently.
Also, you have to ask the question, why was Joe Root bowling in the first place? Because you don't have frontline spinners to exploit that condition. No.
Yeah.
No, you had frontline spinners. They didn't get the 5 for.
Yeah. So, what, man?
It's not like Moeen is getting lots of wickets on these pitches, no?
In fact, I would say
it's not even an argument. I don't like this business of when someone says some nonsense, you have to be nice and say, well, it's not really nonsense. It is nonsense, man.
Also,
you have to say that, well, it's a sort of, okay, I'm going to say that I'm going to desperately try to look for some merit in some corner or what this person
No, Kerry, there's nuance. There's nuance in the argument. That's the word.
No, there's no nuance in the argument. There's nuance in you're inventing nuance where there is none.
KD has respectfully disagreed to disagree, man. He never agrees to disagree.
See, this whole there is a perfect pitch for Test cricket is all faltu. It's all faff. There is no perfect pitch for Test cricket. This is something that has been invented in people's minds that on the first day the pitch should do something. On day 3 it should do something, on day 5 it should do something. And the same people who say this will then say, but who has time to go for 5 days to test cricket? Then don't go. No, then go for 1.5 days and watch this match, in South Africa. Then at least, it's good. So then don't moan about this pitch. So you don't have 5 days.
No. If you
but
do
you want
this,
the perfect pitch.
If you give them this pitch, saying that at least you don't have 5 days, go watch 1.5 days, they will say, what about the vendors in the ground who are suffering? You are not suffering. No, let the vendors figure that out with the administration. What is your problem? Why are you raising flags for everything?
The vendors will take care of themselves. They will find other places to sell their stuff. Don't worry about that.
Listen, you guys don't understand the point of Test cricket. The point of Test cricket is to give its fans a very safe zone to express their anxieties about life. Okay. See, if you can complain about the quality of food going down, the quality of governance going down and birth rate going down, whatever. Those are real problems. When people complain about it, it's not a good thing. But Test cricket is a comfortable, safe zone where you are enjoying the cricket while simultaneously worried about some past which is glorious and some present which is not.
But it's also like that this ideal pitch which does not exist anywhere in the world. It's a bloody unfair pitch, man, because only one side gets to bowl when it's seaming, and like one side has to bowl when it's spinning. And it's like the pitch is different when different teams are batting, man. How is that fair?
See, this is why you don't understand the value of having Glenn McGrath and Shane Warne in the same team. That is why Australia is the greatest team.
Also, this guy
that Australia is the greatest team because nobody else had Shane Warne and Glenn McGrath in the opposition.
Once again, KD has failed because he's trying to logic his way out of a problem. How much times have I told you don't use logic? You could have saved a lot of bandwidth in your life. Don't use logic.
By the way, the comedy is going to continue because England are coming to India for 5 tests. Now, take a deep breath. 5 tests, all of which is probably going to end in 2.5 days. Like each test is
of course they're going to prepare turners, man. I mean, India want to make the WTC final. You think they're going to prepare a flat pitch and let England bat first?
No, there's going to be double comedy here. The double comedy here is England is highly, they have to continue their baseball marketing, right? So they have to continue playing the way they are playing. Then they are going to get these pitches that are going to be like this. It's going to be like ultimate fun to watch these 5 tests.
But I am excited if they actually... one thing I've not seen batters do, because it's really, really tough, is that they consistently attack Ashwin and Jadeja at home. Let's see, it might even be 30 all out or 300 for 2. Zach Crawley may make a double 100 in 80 balls.
I would actually love if England win this series using their ultra-aggressive batting approach. But the problem is, I don't think they have the bowling to win in India. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they have enough spin to win in India on these pitches, but let's wait and watch. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is that, this whole discussion of what's a good pitch. Now, with this referees now, we were talking about bad faith. Now, this is just the whole thing about complaining about the pitch. It's just completely bad faith. It's like you're losing, and so then you start complaining about the pitch. And then when you're at home, you're winning, and you keep defending the pitch. I tend to think that as long as the pitch is not dangerous, it's fine. Yeah, whether it turns or whether it seams, it's fine. I think this Cape Town pitch was, as long as it's not class, dangerous, and I don't think it will be because they were able to finish the match. I think it may be below average or poor, one of those. But it's okay. Once in a while, you will have a poor pitch. You're not always going to have 350 plays, 350 pitches.
Rohit Sharma was not complaining about this pitch, and that's one thing that ever since Kohli and Shastri's time, that one feature of this Indian team is they don't complain about the pitches they play on. They play on pitches that really, really don't favor them, and yet they have competed and still they have not complained. So
and to be fair, no team complains about the pitches. Even when England came to India, Agnew and the BBC and all those people were complaining about the pitches. Like Joe Root and Ben Stokes and like the English team never complained at all. It's like the teams never complain. Like they like the competition, I think.
As Ravi Shastri famously said, you can take a dump on a pitch and it will still be fine.
Yeah.
I
don't think he said that, but yeah, that is the spirit.
I think he
finally topped himself. He has actually managed to dump on like that thing that Ravi Shastri said.
I think Ravi Shastri's famous line was "Bhaad mein gaya pitch." So that's what he told the team. Yeah,
he said take the pitch out of the game. Then Kohli asked him, where will we play? He said, okay, that's not what I meant.
Since we are called 81 all out, I just want to point out that Sachin Tendulkar must have watched that chase yesterday, and he must have wondered, like, I wish I had this top 3 above me in Barbados in 1997. Like, at least they tried something. Yeah? They went after the bowling and all, and like if these guys are going after Rabada, I mean, they would have surely also gone after Ambrose, man.
Come on, that was a really dangerous pitch, man. I mean, that was.
Oh, come on! This. It's not. Yeah, I mean, come on! They all. West Indies just made 140 on it.
No. Okay, you're right. You're right that India didn't go after
this whole thing where, all this ancient stuff, anything which happened in the 90s or the 80s is somehow like this, like the impossibly difficult and impossibly
Come
great.
On, you saw the ball that Sidhu got, right? I mean, that was
you saw the ball that leapt off a good length and hit Rohit Sharma in the chest, and then you saw the ball which leapt off the which hit the same good length and passed.
Before we move on, hold on. Before we move on from this, let me highlight Rohit Sharma got hit like 2 or 3 times like that. It's not the fact that he got hit; it's the fact that he had the technique to get hit and not.
No man, cornered. You know that what he had. Come on, tell the truth. It is not that he had technique; he had the flesh covering, so that he.
Now we're getting into Mumbai street food territory. Yeah, don't do that. Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering whether he was going to go there, and he went there.
The idea, I completely agree with the point that you're making, that they didn't go after the bowling even though they were chasing 120. They were playing, but this Indian team, they actually went for it because obviously they took their chances.
This Indian team is better, no? And this is not like you can't just go after the bowling if you've never done it before, no? But these guys are done it. These guys have played so much fast bowling and they have so much experience of like playing all kinds of attacking shots, lofted shots of fast bowling. They have cultivated a lot of run scoring methods. I mean, India, I looked at this statistic after this test match because I thought that it was exceptional. What I've seen from India and India's batting in this test match was pretty exceptional. India's top 6 made 199 and 279 balls in this test match, in the second test match for 6 wickets. They made their runs at 4.3 runs per over. In all the test matches in this century, like starting in 2000, there are only 2 test matches in which India's top 6 have averaged 4 runs per over in a test match. Okay. One is when Virender Sehwag made 180 at St. Lucia. And the other is earlier this year in West Indies when India, in the second innings, India batted really fast to set up a declaration. Those are the only 2. But
I think the filter here is the SENAW, right?
Yeah, outside Asia. So, I mean, every time we have to face this, even now, like this is like, oh, where is the technique? Who can defend? Who can this? Actually, this happened to England also last time they came. Where there are all these ex-English players of a certain vintage going, oh, there's no defensive technique. What are they doing and this and that? And like as Atherton explained, all those old methods of using the bat and the pad close together, they don't really work when you have DRS. It isn't like these guys don't know something that their predecessors knew. These guys are not stupid. They're not incompetent either. They're as good, if not better, than whatever came before them. So I mean, yeah, you have these guys. I mean, and clearly it was a plan, right, to go after the bowling. Everybody was doing it. Rohit Sharma was backing away to leg and trying to smash the bowling. So was Jaiswal, and like every time Jaiswal like backed away to or Gill or somebody hit over the top, they would. Of course, Kohli cam is on because Kohli is next man and then he's sitting in the dugout by the boundary rope. So they show Kohli cam and Kohli is like clapping and applauding. So clearly this is a plan. This is how they wanted to play. Even Kohli was stepping out to the fast bowler and trying to hit him for a boundary. So, I mean, even in the first innings, they played their shots. Even in the first innings, in fact, in the second over of the first innings, Rohit Sharma got one on a length on about the fifth or sixth stump. And he threw the bat at it like, he was trying to absolutely slaughter it into the offside. I thought that was interesting. I thought that was like unusual, which suggested that, that was their judgment of the pitch. They said, oh, this is not a pitch on which you defend your off stump. This is a pitch on which you got the bowling. And it worked. Whatever they tried worked. So every time we go on and say like, oh, they don't do here, you're seeing right in front of your eyes, they have a method, they've made a judgment, and they've taken a decision, and it has worked, right?
No, and
all your
support,
captaincy and all. Yeah, what is this if this is not captaincy, man? And
no,
what is this?
I am so glad. I was about to add that point. I'm so glad you finally arrived at the point. I completely agree with you. If Rohit Sharma was the captain in Barbados in 1997, India would have won the test.
If this team had gone to West Indies in 1997, they would have won more than one test.
Anyway, so I think we are running out of time. I certainly am. We haven't spoken much about the Indian batting in this series, but
King Kohli.
We haven't said anything about King Kohli. We haven't said anything about KL Rahul, who played a stupendous innings, perhaps the best Indian innings in South Africa. Perhaps, I say carefully, because there have been many other good ones.
Since Rishabh Pant's last greatest innings in South Africa.
In Cape Town. Correct. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, man, that's just a measure of how good this batting lineup was.
Thank you so much for joining. 81allout.com is our website. At 81allout is our X handle. We are on Coffee. That's ko-fi.com/81allout. And we are grateful for all of you who have been chipping in with your contributions there. Some of you have been putting in a monthly sort of contribution. Others have been just putting in a one-off. Thank you so much for that. It really helps us, it keeps us, it sort of shows us that you appreciate what we're doing more than anything. So that's what we're grateful for. We also are in the book republishing space. We have put out 3 books, and I'll put links to all of those. The first book that we put out was War Minus the Shooting by Mike Marquesi, and that continues to be a really good seller for us. So, it's a marvelous book. Please pick it up. I'll also put links to the other 2 books. Gideon Hayes' Summer Game was the latest one that we put out. And we also published Cricket Beyond the Bazaar by Mike Coward, which is the history of Australia's tour to the subcontinent in the 1980s. Anyway, thanks again for joining. We have some good cricket coming up. Later this month, we have England coming to India for 5 test series, as we mentioned, and we'd love to preview that and review those tests. So we'll definitely be joining you in due course. Thank you. And thanks, Mahesh. Thanks, Ashoka. Thanks, Kartikeya. And good night.
He'll come back for the second. India have won the test match. India have won the series. They're going to get back for 2.